Hello.
Hello.
Very good to meet you, and thank you for coming here. We do appreciate your willingness to quickly settle this matter so that we could provide what we think should be a good compensation, so that we know that everybody is happy with the situation. And on behalf of the government, I do want to express our deep concerns and how badly we feel of the situation that the citizens are currently in. We acknowledge the financial conditions, the financial burdens that this conflict brought about. We do acknowledge the status that people had to take, the mere fact that you needed to leave the country for such a long time. So we're very, very much appreciative of that, and we do want to express our apology that this whole thing actually ever happened. But as we're here, I think it is good for us to just quickly go over the issues and to see what we could do actually to be of your assistance and help, so that you could move on with life and somehow recover for the lost 4 years.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that the government has been forthcoming and acknowledges the difficult situation our client has gone through, and hopefully we can reach an amicable resolution to the property loss.
Well, I'm confident that we would jointly now discuss the issues, see what your concerns are, hear out more about your interests and how your client feels, and how we could actually help that situation improve. So if you could just briefly tell us a little bit more about Sophia. How is she now? I mean, she now is back. We hear, is she back to the school? How is her?
She's
the son.
Obviously had a very difficult time after being in exile for 4 years and coming back and trying to get a new job and reestablish herself. She hasn't found a job because of the educational cuts in the country.
Oh yeah.
So we're trying to get her the appropriate compensation that she deserves after the past 4 years.
And obviously it's been a heartbreaking process for her coming back, and things are different. Her home is different. She doesn't know what it was used for. We can only assume the worst in these times, and it's been really difficult for her to.
I mean, even for us, right? For us attorneys on the government side, it's been a heartbreaking process for us. We have been on your side before. We were working for NGOs throughout the process, trying to negotiate a settlement to what we saw as a situation that was, going downhill completely, and there was no agreement, and people were not willing to negotiate and come to an arrangement, and that took 6 years to do this. And we felt that, we were on that side, and we really understood what was happening to a lot of people. It affected us personally as attorneys. Also, I mean, we were personally affected by it.
I think my colleague is very right on being empathical and basically saying that we're on the same side on this, because we were part of an NGO, and we know how the process and how the conflict affected the lives of people. That's why I was really curious to know how is she now personally, and the son, whether he's now back with her, is these kind of things.
Yeah, it's been
But I hear you say that she's back, she's trying to find a job, so hopefully she could settle back into the apartment and get the son here and recover somehow.
Right. I think we all would like that.
Okay. So do you want to start discussing some of the issues that we need to cover?
What's the thought process that y'all had so far in compensating her for the loss and rental loss and property loss that she's had while she was out of the country?
Absolutely, we can discuss that. We just wanted to be sure about the legal grounds here also. Sophia is the only claimant?
Yes.
Does she? So she effectively owns the apartment and has papers to prove that.
That is correct.
She is the sole owner of the apartment.
Yes, that's correct.
That's absolutely
okay.
So
that was just
you're
the lawyer.
with the correct person.
Okay.
Yes.
She has complete authority to resolve the conflict.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
And
So
she has granted you with that.
okay.
Okay, okay. So basically, my partner started to pointing that, but I would also suggest that we kind of have like a process, and I'll give you a brief review how we usually settle those kind of claims, so that you get the general understanding of what kind of type of a framework we have settled, so that we know that the people feel fairly treated by the government, which the government basically has been so bad over the years. So what we usually do is first, when we sit down to discuss the issues, what we do is we see the property. We see, I mean, how many square meters are there, the location, what would be a fair amount. And then we basically calculated to the months that it was seized. So in the scenario here, what we have is we have a 75 square meter apartment, am I correct? Okay. And we have 48 months. So we basically, what we usually do, because we do trust it should be fair, and what we do is we have our external consultant who compares market prices and puts an average number. Because our understanding is that the administrative court does the same. And what we are trying to do here is take something additional to create some added value to this, so that we actually help a little bit more. Okay. And that's our understanding here.
Yes.
So, if I understand correctly, you've already done that process in this case. You've already sent a consultant, and
we have some opinions from a consultant, and we have looked at the numbers that are prevalent right now. Also, I would like to say that this is a forum where we can actually negotiate and come to an amicable settlement. If as I said, this is the first step in the process, and if we are not able to come to an amicable settlement, it is to go to an administrative court where we just present the data, and the court just makes a hearing. There's no.
But I think, and I see the environment that it's very friendly, very open, and I think that we
can
we don't have actually to worry about court now. Exactly, because I have the good sense that we should make that true.
Okay, and I'd like to know, maybe I misunderstood something, just a little bit about the process that the government has, and have we already, I mean, you're familiar with the property, you know where it is?
Exactly. We are familiar. We have some details that we presented to our consultant. And the consultant gets the data about properties that are of similar characteristics. And so he basically, on the basis of this data, which is published, he comes up with a number, which should be an appropriate number, appropriate compensation for a rent. And so that's our process. And in order to kind of speed up our negotiations here, what we did that in advance, so that we could just discuss it with you and hear your opinion out on it. How do you perceive the situation?
Well, we're in agreement with that. We're just hoping that the government will be fair in realizing that every property is a little different.
Absolutely.
And Miss Sophia had a very nice property on the south side of town on the river. It has a river view. It's near the college, in a very trendy area, a very up and coming area for the city. It was, I don't know if you know, but it was designed by a very renowned architect, and it's been on several architecture magazines.
I actually do not know that, but that's something new to me. So it's interesting to share and to hear this.
It probably may be a historic building one day in the city, and we don't want to certainly lose sight of that value. We have papers from the military kind of doing an assessment of the apartment when they went in to occupy the apartment. So from their assessment, they have, and we have papers to prove this assessment, they say that the apartment was actually in fairly poor shape. A lot of furniture was old, falling apart, kitchen faucets leaked, windows and doors were not weatherproofed. I mean, it was an old apartment, and actually the army actually spent money on refurbishing the apartment.
Well,
so
my client is trying to just give you a little bit more of a background that we come from, to share a little bit more information so that you're aware where we come
And maybe we
from,
Yeah.
basically.
We
Yeah, we
So
understand
we-
there were some changes made.
Yeah.
Some of them were improvements like the faucets, and some of them were just changes that were not very, that are just, not very pretty to the homeowner. Like, I think they put a brick wall and they closed a window out, and, people enjoyed looking outside and bringing sunlight into the home. And another issue that really concerns our client is the fact that it was used as an interrogation chamber, and we don't know if, violence occurred there. We don't know if there was torture in the apartment, or what exactly the military may have done while they were.
I think we need to clear this situation, because it might create some issues, and I do acknowledge that this is
That's a huge concern for our client.
It is
to move back
concern.
into a place that the military actually was doing.
Yeah, she must feel
interrogation.
bad. She must feel bad about that.
Yeah,
But I think we have a different. If you want, go ahead.
Actually, the military, given that there were other families staying in that building, the military definitely did not use it as an interrogation center, because that would not work, having different families staying in the building and having interrogation. Actually, the room, it was a training facility, and the room was a soundproof room for reviewing video and audio clips for intelligence purposes. So it was not a room for interrogation, because there's not an interrogation center. There's just one apartment in a big building.
Yeah, well, that's something we want to clear up, because we've been informed that it was an interrogation
It
place.
was a misconception, because if it was an interrogation center, you don't use one apartment.
We hope. We certainly hope. We just don't know, because we weren't here for
Exactly.
4 years.
Absolutely.
Well, I
Yeah.
think you could, or maybe you should actually bring this information to her, because that's really an emotional issue, and
Yes, it
she
is.
needs to realize that nothing
Nothing.
violent
It's
or
an
bad
emotional
occurred
issue, as
there.
long as these things that we think are possible didn't occur, because then it becomes an economical issue down the road if she has to sell it and has to declare it to a future purchaser that this is what occurred
this
in
is what
the
occurred, yeah.
unit. We're just concerned about
Absolutely.
that possible loss in value.
So it was just a training facility. The soundproof room was to review intelligence information, which is standard protocol when it comes to, having intelligence officers review data, whether it's audio or video. They can do it in a soundproof room. So it was one of the apartments in this thing. It was basically a training facility. There was family staying in those apartments.
Okay, I have a question that is just maybe a little off, but you seem to actually have a lot of information about the apartment, and I'm just wondering, do you know, my client had some personal items that are missing. Do you happen to know where those things were taken? Were they stored somewhere or put?
Yeah, there was some familiarity.
And no, we do not have any information.
Okay.
Also, under the gamut of the task force that we have here, we only have the mandate to talk about rent and any damages to the apartment. Once you leave property behind, it's not within the basically the RRA Act to even have.
Right, and that's just something that's I'm here on behalf of my client, and that's something that's really important to her. There's some actual family heirlooms, and if there was a way that you had that information, then we'd like it.
We could check.
We could
Yeah.
check.
And we can take this down. We could make.
I will
inquiries.
make a note. Yes.
If I'm hearing correctly, are you saying that y'all don't have authority to pay for furniture that was left behind?
We only have, under the RRA, we only have authority to pay for rent and damages due to normal wear and tear of the apartment. That is the law. So, that's what that is what we have been authorized to do.
I think here we're actually talking about a compensation for what has been taken away, whether be it normal wear and tear, be it rent. So it's like a rather global amount of money that we want to include everything that basically is in there. And with respect to the personal items, it is hard to really know or to get track of what was taken where and exactly by whom because of the kind of force majeure situations. And in case something really did get missing, I'm not sure whether we could track it down.
Sure, I just
Because when
thought
you
it
leave,
was worth asking.
exactly,
Yeah, but we will
exactly.
definitely
We
try.
acknowledge that we will try, but I'm not sure and positive whether we could trace it back.
We will, what we can do is, we can, if you can, we can probably make some inquiries.
Or maybe you could just give a list of what was missing, which
Okay.
would be helpful for us to really know what are the items that could potentially have been lost during this unfortunate events. That would be good.
Would y'all like to share with us y'all's valuation analysis that y'all had on this particular apartment?
I mean, given that we are effectively the renters of the apartment and she's effectively the landlord, we would like to hear what the landlord feels.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the way we see it, because the state rented the property.
Well, we want to be a fair process of compensation, and we do want to go to some numbers, maybe right now is the right time for us to jointly see what could be a fair amount of money to compensate and actually help her get off her feet and start a job and basically do all those things that needs to be done once the person is back and wants to integrate in society. So have Miss Sophia made any specific request of the amount she's looking for?
Well, we were hoping to see what the government was planning to, what y'all's formula that y'all were using was, and what the offer that y'all were going to try to make.
Specifically, there isn't a formula in place for this. However, we would, for us, it is, given that, it's a standard renting process, right? It is for effectively the landlord to ask for rent from the rentee. And that's where I'm coming from. We do not have, there is no, like you said, all apartments are different.
Yeah.
Different apartments are different size, different floors, all those things.
Well, the most comparable apartment that we could find was in her building, which is, as I explained, in one of the nicest areas in the south side of the Capitol and one of the nicest, most renowned buildings. And we used even though it's a penthouse and it's a little larger, it has the same views, unobstructed river views in the greatest area in town. And we used an analysis and then deducted by square footage and gave credit for the fact that it was the penthouse in the building, and did a square footage value, and considered that it's an elevator building with high ceilings and wood floors. It has a fireplace, and it's quite nice. And we came up to a number. Do you want me to give you the
Sure.
amount?
Yeah, go ahead.
After figuring what a comparable unit is renting with a little larger space, and the changes that would have to be made. That the military, I think they completely blocked a window with a brick wall. She obviously wants to remove that thing and enjoy the sunlight that comes in.
So let me understand this. You're talking about one amount. This is one amount to cover the rent
And the
changes that she needs to do.
The changes that were made by the military, she just wants to revert it back to what it was before.
Absolutely, and I would like to get separate figures for the rent and
damages.
I think we could wait a little bit so that we know what actually is
Yeah.
being put on the table in terms of figures, and then we could start discussing how we could actually help with the removal of those bricks, because I'm pretty sure we could find a good solution for that as well,
Yes.
because we have this party really willing to do the work, and that would save Sophia time, efforts, and money. So we could also be willing to do this. But let's see.
Another issue that I'd
Yeah.
like to just clear up above, since we're talking about the interrogation issue, that's been a huge concern for her, since this is obviously her
Yeah.
family home, and she's concerned about what went on there while she was gone, and if that will affect the market value down the road when she sells it, if something happened that we didn't know. You tell us that nothing violent occurred in that apartment. Would you be able to guarantee that on behalf of the government?
I mean, the last 5 years, 6 years, our civil war there is no way we have the information. what we have the information from the military is, if they said it was an interrogation center, if they said it was an intelligence center, they would have said it's fine. They were very clear. They have given us data saying we have a soundproof room for reviewing video and audio clips of sensitive classified information. It's a training facility. This is one apartment in a building where families were continuing to live. And so,
I think we could go even further than that, and we could even say that it is a fact that there are certain soundproof bricks and laws that have been created, and this is the fact. And this was actually done due to the reason that the military wanted to use it to review some of the videotaping. So basically, these are all kind of like little hints that nothing really violent took place there. And when you consider the location near the river, interrogation centers are not actually located in the center. So
in the
they're
center
not,
of the city,
near
the river, near the university.
these buildings are pretty much used more to like.
Well, as long as you can guarantee that, I have no problem.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
are
based on the
very much
information that we
confident.
have,
We are very much confident that
and as
that
such,
could be
we
secured.
trust what the military has given us the information, because we asked them about the room and they said this is what it was used for.
Yeah.
This is a family building, and this is what we used it for. This was a training facility. There were people staying there. It's definitely not a place where you can arrest people and bring them for their.
I certainly hope not.
Yeah.
And then to clarify one other thing that we kind of touched on, and then I don't know if we clarified it, was that our client would expect to be compensated for damages, not just real property damages, but also personal property damages. And that's our interpretation of the law as well. Do you agree?
That's correct.
I think we don't need actually right now to go to the
If
legal
we can reach a
interpretation.
fair amount,
Exactly.
That would
that might compensate for it anyway.
Exactly.
Without having to
Because
call it
otherwise,
furniture.
I fear that we are going that road. I'm also a lawyer, so I know that when it goes down to interpretation of the law, both parties have their separate opinions, and it is better just to avoid this. Otherwise, it's
Okay.
I mean, it's the court to decide, and would be losing time now. So I think we could cover that.
Okay.
I'm confident we could cover that. We just need to come up with a fair amount. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Have y'all had any other apartments in that building that y'all
We
had
did.
to
We
compensate?
did.
We are in
We
discussions
did.
with other.
Have y'all resolved any?
This is the first one that,
Okay.
I mean, we are in discussions with others, but yes, we will settle this building over the coming months. We will settle. We are more to this building right now. So.
Yeah, because if y'all settled any others, we'd obviously would like, I assume it would be public record. and would-
Right
It
now,
would be
we don't
public record.
have anyone that is settled right
Yeah.
now. I mean, we have started with you, and we in the coming.
It is